But we're hearing now tonight there's more scrutiny about just what qualifies as a COVID-19 death as we have passed another very difficult milestone.
Well, last month, the CDC released figures showing the vast majority of people who were listed as dying from COVID-19, 94% of them had other morbidity conditions, on average 2 to 3 other potential causes of death. Now we have numbers from Milwaukee County that may be even more startling. As of this past Sunday, 410 out of the 422 deaths there attributed to COVID-19 occurred in patients with other underlying potentially deadly health conditions. That's 97% suffering from diabetes, heart disease, leukemia, colon and prostate cancer, and more. Most had 2 to 3 conditions. Some had 5 or 6 serious illnesses, but all of them were listed as COVID-19 deaths. Even if they weren't tested for the coronavirus, if they had symptoms, that was their listed cause of death. And COVID was never named a secondary cause or cause other. It was always the primary cause. Here's one example. Cause A, coronavirus. Cause other, heart failure, diabetes, Parkinson's, cardiovascular disease, renal failure. Remember, that's one patient. But in Milwaukee, per the medical examiner, every person who dies with COVID-19 dies from COVID-19, no matter how sick they already were. Shannon?
Rick, did you say people who weren't even tested for COVID-19 had that listed as their cause of death?
If the doctors thought they had symptoms of COVID, they listed COVID as the cause of death.
The former Prime Minister said that you should improve testing at airports, or indeed put testing in at airports, and we don't. Why not?
The challenge is that the false positive rate is very high, so only 7% of tests will be successful in identifying those that actually have the virus.
The false positive rate is very high, so only 7% of tests will be successful in identifying those that actually have the virus.
Of the definition of people dying of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
You can stick a new world order up your ass. You can stick a new world order up your ass. You can stick a new world order where the sun don't shine but altar. Stick a new world order